Congratulations, Gen Z. A bunch of rich, old, mostly white people in the U.S. House of Representatives have just decided they want to reinstate the draft. Yay! What's up, Forward Up Newsies? Glad to be back here with you. And yeah, it looks like the U.S. House of Representatives have just passed a bill to automatically register young men for the draft. Now, the draft, if for those who don't know, is basically for folks that are, or for men, I should say, that are between the ages of 18 to 26. And what it is basically it's conscription, very much like what they have over in Israel. The draft hasn't been around for decades, but it's basically, forced conscription. You're dragged into the military to fight. Ain't no volunteer. The U.S. military has enjoyed volunteer status, meaning that most of the people that join the military, or pretty much everyone that joins the military, it's by choice. Now, one could argue, is it really a choice based on like economic needs? And we all know the military goes for the poor, but all that mess aside. So let's check here. We have a article on this from Reason. Reason is a libertarian magazine, news magazine. Libertarian, those are the people more they're conservative, but they tend to be more about live and let live type of thing, mostly, not all the ways. This is a lot of independent news. We focus on a lot of progressive things, but there are a lot of intersectionalities when it comes to, intersections when it comes to the different parties and political ideologies. So just because something is libertarian or even Republican doesn't mean that you can't look at that news source, right? So let's put that out there. Anyway, so it says here, right? House passes bill to automatically register young men for the draft. And according to Reason, it says the selective service should be abolished, not made efficient and equitable. I don't know what's going on with that ad there. So yeah. Says the House passes bill to automatically register young men for the draft. The selective service should be abolished, not made more efficient and equitable. Can't say I disagree too much there. So let's take a look at this article real quick. So it says here, the U.S. House, they passed this defense bill on Friday. This would have been Friday the 13th. Ooh, was Friday the 13th, y'all? Did I miss that? No, the 14th. Okay. Friday, June 14th. This is their version of the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA. It would authorize $895 billion in military spending because we can never have too much in military spending, y'all. More money for defense. Woo, woo, woo. This is a joke. This is satire. It passed on a vote of 217 to 199. However, I guess the good news of this is that it's unlikely to be picked up by the Senate. The Senate is Democratic controlled, at least for now. We'll wait and see what happens in November. But yes, there apparently are numerous amendments regarding abortion, diversity, DEI, diversity efforts, and transgender medical treatments. Why Republicans would want to stuff all of that stuff in there is just ridiculous. But they try to sneak what they call it a poison pill into these bills. Anyway, the draft, though, ended in 1975, right? So we haven't had it since the 70s. So it kind of makes you wonder, and the fact that this is also automatic registration, meaning that once you turn 18, U.S. citizens, men, we get a card in the mail saying that, hey, you gotta register for selective service. That's the way it used to be, right? They used to say you had to go and do it yourself. Now, they want to make it they want to make it automatic, right? So here we have a statement from Rep. Chrissy Houlihan. Apologies if I mispronounce her name, but she says, quote, by using available federal databases, the Selective Service Agency will be able to register all of the individuals required and thus help ensure that any future military draft is fair and equitable. She said this on the House floor. Continuing, she says, this will allow us to re-educate, resources. Basically, that means money towards reading readiness and towards mobilization, rather than towards education and advertising campaigns driven to register people. in my personal opinion, that just takes away your right to choose whether or not you want to join the military and help the U.S. imperialist empire. I do find it highly interesting that even though this is unlikely to pass through the Senate, the Democrat-controlled Senate, that there's even an effort at all to automatically register people, young people, for war, to fight in the military, when Republicans especially fight tooth and nail to prevent automatic voter registration, right? What about registering voters as soon as they turn 18? Republicans are against that. They can't let that happen. But you can automatically register young people to go fight in some old man's war. That's okay. And then it also makes you wonder, why is this even a topic of discussion right now? Could it be because Israel has gotten itself into one heck of a mess with this genocide going on in Palestine? I don't even want to say just Gaza, because they're tearing up the West Bank too. Could it be because Israel is trying to force a war with Iran and Lebanon and anywhere else in the Middle East because of some notion, some misguided notion that God gave them the right to all of this land beyond their current borders, beyond Palestine? Could that be what it is? Could it be because they're prepping for some sort of a conflict with China, whether it be in defense of Taiwan, which on its face, I actually think we probably should look out for Taiwan. But is it because they want more people to fight for Ukraine, which, let's be real, I don't think we have any troops. We don't have any troops, allegedly, we don't have any troops in Ukraine right now. But I do think we should support Ukraine as well. But you start to notice we're getting involved in a lot of conflicts, and President Biden in particular is willing to burn up all of the U.S.'s credibility, our money, and use our troops to defend a genocide. And he's spreading us too thin. So now they're talking about bringing the draft. That'll solve the problem. Rather than us using diplomacy, rather than us being a good neighbor, rather than us not sponsoring a genocide, we're just going to get more troops and force more kids to die. Because it's not enough that Palestinian children and young adults are dying. It's not enough that Israeli young adults are dying. Hamas is picking off some of them IDF combatants as well. We don't hear about it much in the news, at least over here, but they're mounting casualties on their side as well. It's not enough that we have that, but we got to go ahead and get more. We're going to get more through forced conscription, through automatic selective service registration. Wow. It's really coming to this. Again, clarity. The Democratic Senate is unlikely to take this up for a vote and definitely unlikely to pass it. Fingers crossed. But seeing as how the uniparty, Democrats and Republicans, seem to, on the whole, throw their weight behind Israel, who knows? Which makes it all the more important, I think, in this election, if you have progressives that are on the ballot, vote for them. Don't vote for the Dem. Vote for the progressive that would be against something like this. Which actually leads me into the next segment. So we just talked about news to move you forward. Here's a little bit of hope to lift you up. All right. So, I love talking about things that you can do, giving you tools, resources, ideas, things like that. Right. And so one of them I just talked about was one of the things was if you have progressives that are on your ballot, right, whether it's especially if it's for a primary. So like, for instance, in New York, there's a primary going on. Representative Jamal Bowman, who has served, I believe, since 2020 up there in New York, or from New York. He is up for re-election. He's facing a stiff primary challenger from a more centrist Democrat. He's endorsed by Hillary Clinton, so that should tell you all that you need to know. But his name is George Latimer. He's funded by AIPAC. And anyway, if you're in there, vote for Jamal Bowman. That is the progressive that will be against something like this, and also against he's also for not supporting the genocide. But in addition to that, if you're more concerned mainly about this forced conscription, the selective service, automatic registration to the selective service, you can reach out to your senator, right? Because remember what I said, the Democratic Senate, they haven't taken it up yet. They're not likely to, but they're not likely to pass it, but you'd rather be safe than sorry, right? So you can go here to senate.gov. Again, that's www.senate.gov.gov. And when you get to that website, you can choose your state. I don't know. Let's pick Indiana. Todd Young. These are your senators, right? Todd Young and Mike Braun, both Republicans. These are their contact information where you can send mail. Please don't send anything stupid or illegal. And also your contact phone number, right? So you even have the list of like their committee assignments and a whole bunch of other good stuff, right? So, that's something you could do, right? Let's try again, choose a different state. Let's go with, all right. Oh, so let's see. So New York, right? So New York, your senators are Democrat Chuck Schumer, and Kristen Gillibrand, huge supporters of Israel, at least Chuck Schumer, but anyway, this is about showing you who your people are, right? Who your senators are. So, again, here's your information. Again, mailing information. Again, please don't send anything stupid or illegal. And the phone numbers, you can call them and tell them, hey, you want them to vote no on that bill. Now, you're probably not going to get to talk to them. You might even just get voicemail. Probably get voicemail or a member of their staff. Call often, leave messages, let them know that you want them to say no, because these people live in a bubble and they often they be on a whole other planet. So just reach out to your senator, particularly your senator, because they're up next for a vote. Don't wait, do it now, because we don't know. We don't want to take for granted that we haven't had a draft since 1975, and we definitely don't want one in 2024. Things are shaping up to be a little too janky to be allowing forced conscription in the United States. All right, Forward Up Newsies, that's all I got for you now. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and please comment down below. Let me know what you think of this story. Are you in that 18 to 26 year old range, and are you afraid of being drafted into the military? How might that impact your life? And if you're somebody who has ever been drafted, right? So maybe you before that 1975 date, drafted into Vietnam or something, for instance. Also, share your thoughts. We'd love to get your perspective and whatnot as well. So yeah, all right, newsies, until next time, be good to each other, be good to yourself, or be good to each other, be kind to others, and if you can't do that, then shut the up. All right, newsies, thanks for checking us out here at Forward Up News, where we give you news to move you forward and hope to lift you up.